In a sure sign of today's culture of death, the UK Health Secretary says people are allowed to travel overseas for assisted suicide during a coronavirus lockdown. That is this week's Speak Out segment. England's Prime Minister Boris Johnson imposed a second national lockdown last week following an uptick in COVID-related deaths and infections in the country. The 4-week lockdown is meant to save lives. That is, unless, get this, you want to end your own life. UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock said last week that people traveling abroad for assisted suicide would not be breaking strict new coronavirus lockdown rules in England. Assisted suicide means to counsel, abet, or aid someone in killing him or herself. The UK Health Secretary told members of Parliament last week, quote, "The new coronavirus regulations, which come into force today, place restrictions on leaving the home without a reasonable excuse. Traveling abroad for the purpose of assisted suicide is a reasonable excuse, so anyone doing so would not be breaking the law." Mr. Health Secretary, it is in your job description to protect the life and well-being of UK citizens. But you cannot claim to want to protect lives by enforcing this coronavirus lockdown when you're simultaneously advancing assisted suicide, which ends lives. You automatically compromise your ability to do your job and gain the trust of others when you stop protecting the vulnerable members of your population as health secretary. And how irresponsible and short-sighted to condone assisted suicide, the aiding of others to kill themselves, when we know depression and suicide rates are skyrocketing now amidst COVID. When people who are already medically vulnerable are then isolated and are facing the heavy burden that is the global pandemic and economic uncertainty, should that not be the time to offer more hope and resources and help? Instead, you are sending the message that those citizens are better off dead. I pray you'll see that truth and will work to protect every human life in the UK.